Material handling occurs in one way or another in every department of every business on every working day. So it's not surprising that accidents resulting from incorrect material handling techniques comprise nearly 35% of occupational injury, with the most common problem being back pain. Back pain is usually defined as acute, chronic and intermittent pain occurring between the neck and the base of the spine. Terms frequently used to describe back pain include fibrositis, lumbago, sacroiliac pain, lower back pain and slip disc. Importantly, they all relate to the spinal column or the muscles and ligaments of the back. The spinal column supports the trunk and head. It envelops and protects the spinal cord and is involved in every movement of the limbs and body and also every function of the body's organs. Of the 33 bones in the spine, 24 permit movement, and between each of these movable vertebrae are discs of fibrous tissue. The discs consist of an outer rubber coating, the annulus, and an inner nucleus of jelly-like fluid. Back injuries due to manual handling are basically of two types: disc injuries and muscle and ligament injuries. When the torso is in the upright position, compressional forces placed on the spine are fairly evenly distributed over the entire length of the spine and over the disc surfaces. When the back is bent, most of the stress is placed on the parts of the back where bending occurs. Disc injuries. When bending and putting the spine under load, all the stress is applied to one side of the discs, pinching them between the vertebrae. This can lead to scarring of the outer covering, which can eventually lead to the discs wearing out and virtually bursting under pressure. Muscle and ligament injuries. The majority of backaches are due to strains and injuries to the ligaments and muscles that support the bones. If a great deal of force is applied to the ligaments and muscles, such as from lifting a heavy load, the ligament and all muscle fibres can tear. Again, these injuries are much more likely to occur when the back is bent. Lifting is so much a part of our everyday activity that many of us don't even think about it. We simply walk up to an object, take a hold, and hope that we don't do ourselves an injury. In fact, there are positive steps to follow towards safe lifting. The first step in any lifting operation is preparation. Clear the work area of hazards, oils, objects on the floor, obstructions on the pathway. Check the load for sharp edges and protruding nails, and wear protective clothing if necessary. Size up the load. This could be done by reading the information panels on the object and by moving the load sideways and forwards. This is a very important step as it allows the person to ascertain whether the load to be lifted is within their capacity. Proper foot position. As a general rule, the front foot should be beside the object, pointing in the direction of travel, with the back foot slightly behind, and should be hip width from the front foot. This achieves a stable base and allows for even distribution of weight. Bend the knees to get down to the load, and use the legs to lift the load. This way, thigh and leg muscles are used, and these are the strongest part of the body. Ideally, with the proper hold, the hand should be diagonally opposite for security and comfort. Use the full length of fingers, and where possible, the palms of hands to avoid fatigue. Make the back as near to straight as possible. Raise the head with the chin in just before lifting. This will keep the spine straight and enable the person lifting to see where he or she is going. During the lift, keep the arms as straight as possible and the elbows in to the side. Don't change your grip while carrying, and directly face the spot on which the load will rest. When setting down a load, the reverse procedure to lifting should be applied. Regardless of the shape and appearance of the object, the principles of safe lifting remain the same. In summary, the steps for safe lifting are: clear the work area, check the load, size up the load, proper foot position, bend the knees, proper hold, straight back, arms close to the body. By following these simple steps, you will significantly reduce the risk of injury when lifting. But remember, you're the key. The golden rule when lifting must be to always lift within your own capacity, and if in doubt, get help. Use a mechanical lifting device or another workmate, but never, under any circumstances, lift an object or weight beyond your own lifting capacity. Ideally, when team lifting, the people involved should be of similar height and physique. The load should be shared evenly, but most importantly, one person should take responsibility for the operation and act as a coordinator. Many objects, simply because of their shape, invite the use of incorrect lifting techniques. Regardless of the object, following the correct procedure is vital to minimize the risk of injury. Having examined all the steps necessary for safe lifting, the other obvious factor when carrying is to ensure adequate vision. Obscured vision can easily lead to injury, not only to the person carrying the load, but also to other personnel and damage to the goods. Bulk storage of material often results in containers that are too big and too heavy to be physically manhandled. This problem has been recognised, and mechanical lifting devices have been developed to assist you in lifting such containers. When they're available, avoid injury. Use them. When using a hand trolley or barrow, the principles of safe lifting still apply. Arms should be extended and by your side with your back straight. Small forklifts are commonly used to relocate goods stacked on pallets, an objective again being to reduce the risk of back injury. When using one of these forklifts, it's essential to maintain a clear line of vision. As well as understanding the steps necessary to ensure safe lifting, the following three factors should be taken into account to minimize the risk of accidents and injuries: the nature of the load, the working conditions, and personal limitations of the individuals performing the task. The nature of the load. A load may be difficult to handle safely if it's too awkward, if it's too soft to control, or is unbalanced, unstable, or have contents which are liable to shift, contains moving parts, is difficult to grip, or is poorly positioned. In addition, there may be physical hazards, such as whether the object has sharp edges or is hot or cold to touch, or chemical hazards where a load may contain substances which are dangerous when spilled. Working conditions. The layout of the work area should take into account the distance over which typical loads have to be moved and the height of shelves and tables. Gangways and working areas should be spacious enough to allow easy movability. Floors and other walking surfaces should be level and firm. Slippery, greasy or wet surfaces are obviously particularly dangerous. Adequate illumination of the work area is important, and care should be taken where uncomfortable temperatures exist. High temperatures can result in fatigue and loss of handling efficiency, and low temperatures can lead to numbness of the hands and loss of manual dexterity. Personal limitations. Lifting, carrying and moving loads consume muscular energy. People vary enormously in their capacity to produce such energy, and full account should be taken of an individual's limitations. The individual's capacity is largely determined by age, strength and degree of body development, general state of health, degree of skill and experience, and susceptibility to fatigue. Regardless of where you are or what the objects may be, the steps towards safe lifting are always the same, even for familiar objects such as a typewriter, stack of books, or even for a chair. The essential lifting message is, the more you bend your knees, the less you'll use your back.